Halo 3 is one of the best video games of all time. So with Halo Infinite coming out in December, I decided the best course of action was to play all the games again on Legendary. This is Halo 3. I didn't want to upload Halo 1 and 2. Our grand story starts off by me skipping the intro cutscene. This is the only cutscene I skip. Don't know why I did it. I'm not gonna go back and re-record it. So I'll just explain what happens. Master Chief jumps out of the ship. That's it. So having just woken up from the cutscene that I skipped, I decided to leave my entire team behind by means of bunny hopping towards some screaming I heard. Because after all, if anyone's gonna scream, it'll be because of me. Or it will be me. Probably the second one. I set up an ingenious scheme to kill this gorilla, but unfortunately it gets foiled, so next time around I decided to just hide behind Arbiter, who can turn invisible. I guess we'll call that one Guerrilla Warfare. Who the fuck wrote this? Arbiter decided to yell about his favorite game, before ruthlessly slaughtering all the Covenant in his path. A few more grenade deaths, and some cool headshots later, I finally arrived at the sex dungeon, where Johnson gets his rocks off, but not before Cortana complains about my willingness to leave her behind. Shut up, bitch. I skillfully miss all my shots with a sniper, so I decide to use the gravity hammer, which I use to cower behind a corner until a pelican finally comes to save the day. That's the real hero of the story. The pelican returns me to our base, where I get an explanation of what game I'm playing. Master Chief then decides to explain to Lord Hood the plot of his favorite show.
And I kid you not, he turns himself into a pickle.
Glad to hear it.
Turns out Hood must not be a big fan because he cut the power to the station, and the Prophet of Truth used that time to throw shade at all the humans.
All of you vermin.
The only part Chief listened to was when he was mentioned personally.
Does he usually mention me?
To show these dirty, cuffy bastards who's really boss around here, I grabbed 2 SMGs and cowered behind a box, till I felt like jumping on top of it with no shields. Second time around, I watched with pleasure as the Warthog was blown up, and then headshot everybody who I thought might be responsible. Also, apparently Master Chief is simply built different, and standing on top of an exploding truck doesn't even faze him. Don't know what that's about. Having run out of all of my ammo, the tried and true strategy of spam clicking the dual plasma pistols down a long hallway saved the day yet again, for the first time. Once re-equipped, I watched some Marines fight some grunts and decided to grab the big mounted turret. The big man gets the big gun. End of story. Johnson decided it would be a swell idea to make me fight my way through some buggos, just so I could go back to the ops center and look at a cool nuke he and Miranda won in a game of poker. I was then deemed a bad friend when I wasn't impressed enough, so they sent me to go clear a room full of brutes with no help and no extra weapons. I'll tell you straight up, this room was the hardest thing I'd faced so far in this game, but that's probably more due to my own lack of skill than anything else. After clearing a room full of more buggos, I was reunited with the Arbiter, whom I had actually completely forgotten about up to this point, and had to show him the proper way to humiliate the weaker enemy that he killed. Together, me and Arby saved some Marines and killed some Planet of the Apes ripoffs. That is, until Johnson told me that I had to go all the way back to the Ops Center and rearm the bomb he and Miranda worked so hard for, all so I could regain their friendship. On my way to escape the ticking time bomb, I fought through the same area a third time, and Cortana underestimated my skill.
There will be a great deal of hardship.
With absolute finesse, I jumped into the elevator and finally finished this level. Now here we are on Savo Highway. My mission? Drive a Warthog all the way to the nearby town of Voy. Now I could stay back and systematically kill all the enemies to progress safely. Or I could hold down that W button like all the women that don't hold me. And I think you know which one is more fun. I absolutely blasted through this level at a record-setting pace. Nothing could stop me. Well, except bullets, that is. Chief could withstand a truck exploding as he stood on it, but bullets? Yeah, apparently we haven't figured that one out yet. Me and the gunner switched spaces so I could show him how to shoot while he showed me not how to drive. We were a great team. With the big blue wall down, we were back to driving. When I proposed a speedrun strategy, my team immediately abandoned me. Pretty disrespectful if you ask me. So I carried on without him. Who needs teammates when you can be your own gunner and driver? Fuck. Yeah, fuck that. I decided the best course of action was to, once again, hold that W button harder than I'll ever hold anybody else, because I am a gamer, and we don't need friends. After committing several vehicular manslaughters, which doesn't actually count because they're gorillas and not people, I upgraded my vehicle to one that I can both drive and shoot, and I carried on my merry way with very minimal failures. With this chopper, I was unstoppable, indestructible, unbreakable, and most of all, completely lying to you. At the end, where the only thing I had to do was get past this big blue wall, I actually found it easier to get off the chopper and fight my way there on foot. Yeah. The next mission, the Storm. We drove in on the warthogs Miranda gave us since I regained our friendship. I gave this Marine my fuel rod cannon, and he seemed very pleased about it. Little did he know, it only had one bullet. I proceeded to rip and tear my way through hordes of Covenants. The Marine with the fuel rod actually fought very valiantly, shooting way more than one bullet. But unfortunately, he did fall victim to his own badassery. To avenge my fallen friend, I decided to go out and prove to the Covenant that the Ghost is a power weapon. And honestly, it was glorious. With the Ghost and some slick hijacking skills, I destroyed everything in my path. Until the Brute used a power drain. Seriously, what a dick move. Upset that Harambe's little brother ruined my fun, I committed an absolute genocide through the whole room. I do feel better now. That good feeling was very short-lived because the next door I opened spawned hundreds of buggos. In order to get out of this, I had to think fast and be smart, so I pulled out my ultimate strategy. Hiding in the corner and crying until they show pity and flew away. Turns out there were like 6 Marines with rocket launchers in the very next room that just watched and did nothing to help. Glad to see we're still on the same side here. Me and this Marine spent the next few minutes being completely badass until I failed a sick jump and got him stuck. I don't suppose he'll get in. That's fine. I have a cool strategy I want to use on— Holy shit, is that Spider-Man? No, it's just a scarab. I hardcore parkoured my way onto it and was saved from utter destruction by this Marine with a mongoose. I was rejoined by the Arbiter, and together we killed all the gorillas that escaped the nearby wildlife reserve. I had a really intense moment when a Brute and I decided the best course of action was an old Western-style duel. Yeah, he lost that battle. The next Brute was actually a bit smarter, and decided to use my own superior tactics against me. He successfully hid and cowered behind this box until I had to run around and kill him. The Arbiter then shouted profanities at his old leader, and I gunned down all the remaining enemies with the biggest gun I could find. Yeah, this is child's play at this point. I really need a new enemy to fight. Truth succeeded in opening his portal above Africa, and all of his troops retreated through it to go to the nearest McDonald's. Cortana then tried to recite some poetry to me, but ended up forgetting the next line. Arbiter screamed angry at the sky, and a shooting star flew over our heads. Make a wish. Well, turns out Arby's wish actually came true, and we get to fight the Flood. Whoopee! Truth be told, this mission was actually incredibly easy. Didn't even die once, which is saying something. I'm bad. Though I did end 3 seconds over par, which is painful in its own right. My reward for my mediocre gameplay? Cortana! Oh, and this ball guy from the first Halo. What's up? Apparently he wants to help me now? Well, can't see that turning sour. We zoom out to see the elites destroying Africa, and we learn Cortana's not actually Cortana, but instead is a Star Wars-style message of Cortana, where she explains that the Gravemind is actually going to fling High Charity towards Earth and infect everyone with the Flood. That's a bombshell. Luckily, she comes in clutch with the Death Star plans. Sorry, actually I meant the plans to chase the Prophet of Truth through the portal to the Ark. I thought that was the plan anyways, but what do I know? I'm just the guy that shoots people. Lord Hood decides that he's instead going to stay behind and fistfight all the Flood while literally everybody else goes through the portal. I'd like to see his plan. We pop out on the other side and immediately get into a massive battle with the Covenant. We learn the Shipmaster is actually unable to count, and it's time to commence Operation Desert Storm. I feel like that one's been taken. The plan goes off without a hitch. Turns out a sniper rifle is a pretty useful weapon if you can actually hit your shots. Past some hunters, I learn how to read from a computer, and shoot my ass off to save my one true love. The Mongoose. This Mongoose is the hero of the story, allowing me to slip past all the enemy. allowing me to slip past. Fucking goddamn it. Fuck it, I'm taking the chopper. Hell yeah. I skillfully weave past all the now deceased enemies and fight my way to a big ass door which, surprise surprise, can't be opened yet. Instead, I need to find a place big enough for the entire Forward Unto Dawn to land. Luckily enough, Johnson knows the most heavily fortified place. Great. Honestly though, this fight was easy. Just stand back and skillfully take out the enemies from a distance. Their positioning is obvious, and honestly these wraiths are oblivious. And I cleared enough space for... oh, fucking shit. After doing all that shit again, the Dawn finally lands and gives me some of the best gifts she can. A new best friend. I use it to shoot my way all the way back to the door, because this game just loves making you retrace your steps. Decided to try and kill 343 Industries before they can ruin Halo. Apologized by making it try to hurt me, and turned on the light bridge so I can have my Scorpion tank in the next section. 38 minutes into the run, and a Scarab decides that it's not afraid of some dumb tank named after a bug. Yeah, I really underestimated this fight. Something about the way these choppers just kept spawning in and killing me really frustrated me, and I just started playing like absolute shit. I developed this new tactic though, which did not involve flying in theory, but practice is always different than theory. At an hour and 2, I finally gathered enough skill to take out a single walking mini-boss. I killed my Scorpion in celebration and carried on with the level. This Warthog was super useful to me here. I could just drive up the ramp and let it explode the first time I sensed trouble. The ramp here actually didn't give me much headache after the Scarab, and soon I was at the top and ready to... Finally, at the top of the ramp, Arbiter makes fun of me for my troubles.
Well done, Spartan.
Fuck off. And we carry on to the big map of the Ark. A phantom comes to ruin my fun, and I fight my way downstairs to a pelican that's ready to take me to the next mission. Finally, the next mission, the Covenant, comes off to a very strong start, giving me a Spartan laser right off the bat, and man does this thing fuck. Mr. Fuel Rod here shows his disapproval of me, and that marks the first of many struggles on the mission. After clearing the brute, I decide to run forward, and a Banshee simply disagrees with that plan. So I say fuck it, get in the Warthog, and reapply my strategy of just fucking gun it, because that strategy has yet to fail me. Honestly, this plan works better than ever. I get in this Ghost, and I just fucking send it through a group of enemies blocking the next door. Yeah, no trouble at all. Appeased with how well the strategy keeps working for me, I decide the best course of action is to grab this invisibility and do it again. Once again, the strategy goes off without a hitch thanks to this bubble shield in this awesome corner that enemies are apparently oblivious of. I clear out the entire room, and I see a shiny elevator button that I really want to press. But then this blue thing catches my eye, so I jump off the elevator and go touch it. While over there, I see a cool yellow button I could press, so naturally I press that. Did I mention I get distracted easily? Yeah, well, after leaving the terminal, the painful truth dawned on me that the elevator that I had started had not actually come back down. I followed an objective arrow to a checkpoint that gave me no progress, and I went back inside where it gave me yet another checkpoint for nothing. After realizing the elevator was not coming back, I decided to kill myself so I could reset checkpoints. Except it didn't dawn on me that I had now gotten 2 checkpoints after this offlock. The game won't let you restart 2 checkpoints. 20 minutes into this level, I had to restart the entire mission because of that fucking power drain. This time, I wasn't fucking around. I cleared all the enemies in just over a minute, punching the AA Wraith to death just to show my frustration, and put the Warthog into 5th gear. I made great time to my Ghost, and I thought I could top it off by speeding into the room faster than before. Alright, this time I hijacked a full health Ghost and... Okay, I hijacked the Ghost and sped into the fucking Prowlers? It wasn't until the 16-minute mark that I finally made my way back inside the structure. And my pain didn't end here. My legendary invisible strat? Yeah, that failed epically this time. I guess I didn't realize just how lucky I actually got during that first run. I slowly and methodically cleared the room after realizing that going invisible was just a waste of time at this point. And I made especially sure to actually be on the elevator as it went up. On top, I cleared some brutes and pushed a button. Soon after, the Arbiter pushed his button. Now all we have to do is wait for Johnson, who wasn't pressing his button. God damn it, do I have to save him again? I drove the world's shittiest Warthog down to the beach, entered a Hornet, and simply flew to the third tower, gunning down anybody in my way. Where was this firepower when I was struggling? I fought my way through pretty much the same tower, getting a cool combo killing a bunch of buggos in the process, and pressed the button that Johnson couldn't. Speaking of which, where the hell is Johnson? Well, the all too important buttons have been pressed, and now we can easily stop Truth in the Covenant. Is that fucking High Charity? Wasn't it supposed to go to Earth? I pretty easily fight my way out of the tower. God, I love fighting the Flood. And decide to hitch a ride with the Arbiter on his Phantom. Well, it turns out that apparently humans aren't allowed to ride alien vehicles, and I was properly punished for my sins. Next time around, I found a Scorpion tank and just left a trail of destruction all the way to the end of the level. Before I could progress, however, I had to fight 2 Scarabs. At once. Actually, this was significantly easier than the single one, because I was much less frustrated at this point. I wanted to keep the Hornet, but my dreams were quickly crushed. Who needs time when you have a Hornet? Oh, so instead, me and Arby just walked in and tuned into Truth's broadcast. Hey, there's Johnson. We learn, once again, that only a human can activate anything in the Halo world, so Truth was never actually even a threat until we chased him, and Miranda chickened out of saving the world. Well, now Truth's about to win, but his 2 greatest nemeses are just across a long hallway and... ah, shit, the Flood. Oh, actually, they're on my side now, I guess. You see, greater evil. Thank God someone in this video has some goddamn smarts. Fighting my way to Truth was actually really easy with the Flood helping me out. Not to mention Arby finally getting his sweet revenge.
Yeah, boy!
And now the world is saved, and even the Flood are on our side. Well, that didn't last long. Chief and Arby get a really cool back-to-back scene. I tried, and failed, to restart the Halo rings, and we fight our way together all the way back to the elevator we came in on. The LSD I took earlier starts to take effect, and I chase this imaginary blue lady down a hallway, which leads me to find a grand secret of the Ark. A new Halo ring to replace the one I destroyed. And I know just the person who can activate it. No, not you, idiot. The next mission starts simply enough, with a Banshee I don't remember getting, flying into a JPEG. I land in the haunted house of the Mucinex family and decide to immediately trash the place. Fuck your decor. As it turns out, Gravemind and Cortana are actually having a bit of a domestic disturbance, so naturally the best course of action is to commit genocide until I can re-kidnap. Unkidnap? Take back Cortana. I said some stupid shit about shooting my way out as if that's not what I've been doing the entire time. Arby saves my life with a flamethrower, we fly through some more JPEGs, and this mission's over. It is also absolutely mandatory that Master Chief crashes a vehicle at the start of every final level in Halo. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. The only obstacle here is one big tower, but it's completely infested with Flood. Thankfully, I've had some practice taking care of them. In no time at all, Spark opens the big door and the whole fire team goes to fire the Halo. I get asked for a sexual favor
Yank me, Chief.
from Cortana and decide to pass that baton to Johnson because he knows what the ladies like. With absolute finesse, Johnson begins to fire the Halo using Cortana's index from the first game, and Spark realized his gear wasn't leveled enough for our raid. As any sane individual does, he opens fire on Johnson and pushes Chief off a cliff. Thankfully, death means nothing to me, so next time around I steal Johnson's Spartan laser and absolutely annihilate that little shit. Turns out that after surviving genetic augmentation, literally the Flood, and the entirety of Halo 2 on Legendary, all it took was one laser blast and Johnson was on his deathbed. Yeah, whatever, dude. Me and Arby now found ourselves on the Ark, that was now falling into pieces from the Halo ring being fired on top of it. Maybe we should have had an escape plan. A Pelican would have been nice. Instead, me and Arby take Johnson's Warthog, he won't be needing that anymore, and start doing some Tokyo Drift shit. I mean, look at this. Fire, explosions, the floor falling out from under us, the Flood. God damn, I love this Warthog run. I smiled like an idiot the whole time. Our final sick trick sent us off this ramp and into the frigate that would be our escape off this hellhole. While taking off, Arbiter went up front and put on a seatbelt like some kind of nerd. Doesn't he know the cool thing to do is almost fall out and have to barely dodge a tank falling on you? I watched the memorial, learn about Chief's cryostasis from the Legendary cutscene, and finally finished Halo 3 on Legendary. Make sure to tune in next time when I spend $500 just to do the same thing with Halo 5. God, I just hate myself, don't I? I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to leave a dislike and an angry comment in the comments box below, and then make sure to type in your favorite YouTuber in the search bar and watch him instead.